Hello people, I bring you another time-lapse video. This time I'll explain a few things about my process. I like to document how I do things like this and see how it evolves and changes over time as hopefully I get better and more confident in the work that I do. And I really hope these videos can help others in some way as well. So in this stage, especially at the start, I make a lot of corrections as things become visible to me. I might not see all the errors straight away, and sometimes not even until I'm finished. But I do try to spot as many as I can, and it also helps when you start to get to know your common errors. After a while, you can spot them faster because you're already aware of them. Well, most of the time. It's no big deal because I'm using a pencil and I will erase a part completely and redo it if I have to anytime throughout the sketch. But it is much easier to fix things in this stage. Generally, the main things I end up moving around are the eyes and the mouth. Sometimes these parts just need a few adjustments before I can really get into it. And I'm trying to see how things line up compared to my reference. Some things will be off and sometimes I just leave it if it's no big deal, or I'll move things around or make slight changes to what I see in the reference as well. I guess that's the artist's prerogative. It's a bit hard to see what's going on here because I am using a 2H pencil, but as I confirm where I want things to go, the lines start getting darker and the sketch starts to emerge from the page, which is pretty cool. I use anything I can to help try and line things up. It could be the shape of a shadow or a particular plane of the face. I'm too lazy to measure things out, so I'll eyeball all my measurements and angles, and because of this it can take a few goes to get something that works, but doing it this way doesn't seem to impede my flow as much as stopping and taking measurements with a tool. So now I begin to put in the features, starting with the left eye and a softer darker 4B pencil. I am trying my hardest to preserve some of the white parts of the lower lid, but most of the time it's too fine and delicate and gets smudged over really easily, or my hand is just too shaky, so I don't worry about it too much. I'll fix it later if I have to. Now onto the nose, and just confirming the line of the nose, including its shadow, and lightly shading the side to give it a bit more depth. And then I move over to the other eye. For the longest time, and still to this day, drawing the other eye always seems to be a challenge. I've drawn some pretty crazy eyes in my time. My biggest problems now are usually making them the same size or on the right angles, or making them look in the direction that I want. That's quite difficult. Oh, I must have picked up a 6B pencil by mistake, but it turns out alright, it's fine. I can already tell that one eye is bigger than the other, but I do fix it later on. So now positioning the mouth can be difficult too, but I try to keep in mind that there's a strip that runs down the middle of the face, and if I can keep the features in line with that, they seem to turn out a little bit better than what I used to draw. Then I darken them and add the shadow bit underneath as well. So now the features are in, I do a bit of a tidy up and move all over the page from one part to the other, just reinforcing the positions of things and filling out a few more details that I want to show. And yep, just lost that white part of the lower lid. It's so hard to keep that untouched for some reason. I think I was trying to fix that far eye, making it slightly larger to even them out a little bit, but oh well. Then I reinforce the contour for the sides of the head that I want and start placing the ear. I moved the ear a little here and there before I was happy with it, to put in the details, and then place the top of the head and the hair. And I can't say I like this hairstyle that was in the reference or how I drew it. So I changed it a little by making little wispy areas later on because it felt really harsh. While I was messing with the shoulder and the hair, I had an idea to combine references and add another element, but for the moment I just try and fill in the hair and add those wisps so it doesn't look so harsh. Also, it takes quite a bit of work to cover the head, so I break out the pencil stick, and I don't know what it's called, but it's like a block. It covers more surface faster. And you can see that I moved the top of the hair and the head a bit. The shape didn't feel quite right, and then use a tissue to spread the lead. Going for a more subtle shading, and my pencil hatchwork just isn't up to the job yet. Anyway, the tissue helped to make me a base for the hair as well. Then I just put whatever level of detail I want on top of that. Sometimes the hair is just too big a job by this time. I use an eraser to bring out some parts, and then I reinforce the darker bits in between with the soft lead. Either the 4B or perhaps the 6B that I accidentally picked up earlier. I just used that darker pencil to reinforce the bits in between the parts that I erased, and also to put in some of the darker strands. So again, I start moving around and shading things here and there. Behind the ear, that bit behind the neck, then back to the lips, making them a little bit darker. Again on the eyes and the mouth, and I just go wherever I feel I need to make a little mark here or there and move around quite a bit. I actually find this stage quite fun because it's discovering and seeing things and fixing them up, but most of it's already there, so this task seems to be a little bit easier. It's not as intensive as what I was doing earlier by laying things in and putting the details in. This is just the finish over the top stage. So now this is where I start to add my second reference over the shoulder. It's a bit sloppy to start with. Actually, it's all sloppy, but I think that's because I was really unsure if this was going to work or how I was going to implement it. I admit I was also starting to run out of patience for this sketch. The whole thing took me just over an hour, I think, to do, and I'm already wishing it was done. I'm over it. So for the last bit, I break out the heavy pencils again and just do a little bit here and there. I go back to the eyes because I wanted the focus to be the eyes, and I wasn't quite happy with the way they were looking or where they were looking. And I tried to add the white bits back and kept working on it. The paper at this stage isn't really taking much more lead, so it's pretty much done with me. And well, I'll try and sharpen my pencil and try again. Just to give you up. It's full of, the page is full of graphite. It can't take much more, even if I erase and try and lay it down again. But I'm almost done. A bit of white pen at the end to touch up here and there. And I call it. I'm done with the sketch. That's it. Anyway, I hope this gives a little bit of insight to my current process making these sketches. I do enjoy it. It does take me a fair while and I do run out of patience. I think perhaps that might be a common thing. I don't know. Tell me if you run out of patience after, how long you last through a sketch before you start running out of patience and wishing it was already done. I would like to be able to do a proper finished pencil drawing one day, but unless I can do that within an hour, which seems to be my current patience limit per drawing, I don't see it happening quite yet, but who knows? My process might change and get better the more I do this. It has most certainly changed since even a year ago, so there is still hope for me and you if you have this problem too. All in all, I think this was a good sketch for combining elements to make something new. Even though this attempt was quite rudimentary and clumsy, I have been avoiding the design element of drawing and just sticking with the one reference lately, and after a while it has started to feel like I can't draw past what I see. I do believe it is a skill that can be built upon and improved, and it's time to start exploring that a little bit. So I should be recording more of these sketches now that I have an easier setup, and hopefully the quality will improve as well. Anyway, now it's your turn. Go and start sketching something, anything. See you next time.